Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. So begins one of Edgar Allan Poe's most famous poems, The Raven. While the time may not be midnight, it is Halloween, and a perfect excuse to spend some time with Edgar Allan Poe, master of tales mysterious and macabre. So tonight, we will be spooking you with a few stories and a poem or two to send Halloween shivers down your spines. Our first entry is a poem called The Bells. It's perfect for Halloween because it leads us through a number of moods, from the festive bells of a sleigh ride to wedding bells, then alarm bells, and finally the ominous toll of the death bell. Let yourself get caught up in the hypnotic and chilling rhythms of the bells.
Hear the sledges with the bells.
Silver bells.
What a world of merriment their melody foretells.
How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy of the night.
While the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight.
Keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme through the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells.
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 Bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells.
Hear the mellow wedding bells.
Golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells.
Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight.
From the molten golden notes all in tune. What a liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon.
From out the sounding cells, what a gush of euphony voluminously dwells.
How it swells.
How it dwells.
On the future, how it tells.
Of the rapture that impels to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, bells, bells. Of the bells.
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 To
the rhyming and the chiming of the bells.
Hear the loud alarm bells.
Brazen bells.
What tale of terror now their turbulency tells.
In the startled ear of night, how they scream out their affright.
Too much horrified to speak, they can only shriek, shriek out of tune.
In a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in a mad expostulation with a deaf and frantic fire leaping higher.
Higher.
Higher with a desperate desire and a resolute endeavor, now to sit or never by the side of the pale-faced moon.
Oh, the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells.
Of despair.
How they clang
And clash.
And roar.
What a horror they outpour on the bosom of the palpitating air.
Yet the ear it fully knows by the twanging and the clanging how the danger ebbs and flows.
Yet the ear distinctly tells in the jangling and the wrangling how the danger sinks and swells.
By the sinking or the swelling and the anger of the bells, of the bells. Of the bells.
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 Bells, 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 bells.
In the clamor and the clangor of the bells.
Hear the toll of death bells, iron bells. What a world of solemn thought their monody compels.
In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright at the melancholy meaning of their tone.
For every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan.
And the people, the people, they that dwell up in the steeple all alone.
And who tolling, tolling, tolling in that muffled monotone, feel glory in so rolling on the human heart a stone.
They are neither man nor woman.
They are neither brute nor human.
They are ghouls, and their king it is who tolls as he rolls, rolls, rolls.
And pains from the bells. His merry bosom swells with the paean from the bells.
And he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the paean of the bells of the bells.
Keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the throbbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells.
Keeping time, 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 as he knells, 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 in a happy runic rhyme to the rolling of the bells.
Of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, of the bells.
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 To the moaning and the groaning of the bells.
Well, that should have gotten you in the Halloween mood. Along with death, another symbol of Halloween is the black cat. Ours is a cute little kitten named Pluto, who develops a unique way of repaying his master's kindness. We take you now to Poe's immortal American classic story, The Black Cat.
And it is the sentence of this court that you be hanged by the neck until you are dead. And may God have mercy on your soul.
No, I neither expected nor solicit belief for this wild story. I would be mad to expect it, yet mad I am not, and very surely I do not dream. But while there is still time, I don't know why, I feel compelled to report a series of mere household events. In their consequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Perhaps someone more calm, more logical, but certainly far less excitable than I will be able to explain them. I cannot. I can only tell you the facts, and that I have to do so today, because tomorrow I die. Believe me, there was nothing, absolutely nothing in my childhood which forecast the terrible events that were to come. As a child, I was very gentle. I got along very well with everyone, but most I liked animals, animals of all kinds. Then I married quite young, and I was very happy to find that my wife shared my feelings. Very soon we had quite a collection. We had birds, goldfish, we had a dog, some rabbits, and we had a cat. I will never forget the day my wife brought him home.
Hello, sweet. Home so early.
Look, Charles, what I've brought.
Oh, look at the little kitty. Where did you get it, darling?
The poor little thing. Some dogs were chasing it, and I just rescued it in time.
Look, now it's not frightened anymore.
It seems to love you, Charles. But then that's not strange. All animals do.
Yes, nobody's going to hurt you, little kitty. How about a little milk, huh? Yes, there, you see, he must have been very hungry. What is your name?
I don't suppose he has a name. He is so young. I don't think he belongs to anybody.
Well, then we'll have to give him a name.
You mean we can keep him?
Keep him? If he has no home, we can't turn him out in the street, can we?
Oh, Charles, I was hoping you'd let him stay.
Of course, but he must have a name. Let's see. He is black. Yes, all black. There's not a single white mark on him. I have it. He's as black as the devil. Let's call him Pluto.
Yes, I'll call you Pluto.
Pluto grew up to be a remarkably beautiful cat, and of all the animals in our house, he became my favorite and my playmate. until it all changed. Yes, as the years went on, my character suffered a radical change. Everything changed. Why? Well, I'm ashamed. I hate to admit it, but through intemperance. Yes, through intemperance. And then, as drink became more and more necessary to me, I became more and more moody and irritable.
Charles, where are you going?
I don't have to tell you where I'm going.
Oh, Charles, what's happening to you?
What do you mean, what's happening to me?
You never used to go out every night to those vile places.
Will you stop nagging me? Stop it! I go out because I can't stand listening to you nag all day long.
I don't know what's come over you.
Oh, there, see? Why don't you learn from Pluto? He doesn't ask me where I'm going. Yes, that's right. You never do. No, come here, Pluto. Come here.
Be careful, Charles. Don't pick him up like that. You're hurting him.
I'm not hurting him. Ouch! He bit me.
Charles,
you devil!
don't.
I'll show you.
Don't.
Oh, you beast!
Yes, I hate to admit it, but I was so furious, I kicked Pluto and kicked him again and hard. And the next morning, I saw that his ear was torn, and I was filled with remorse for what I had done. And from then on, Pluto ran away in terror whenever I approached. That, in turn, made me more and more irritated. And in the end, it was sheer perverseness, nothing else. Yes, sheer and unexplainable perverseness that made me do what I did. Yes, I blush to admit it, but one morning I strangled the poor animal. And I killed it only because I knew that it had loved me and because it had given me no reason for offense. No, I am offering no excuse. I am only recounting what happened. Well, in the evening I went to the inn as usual, and I came home very late and fell asleep with my clothes on. Then I was awakened suddenly.
Fire! Fire! What? Charles, wake up!
What's the matter?
There must be fire. I smell smoke.
Fire! Get the people out! Get them out! Call the fire
Good
department.
heavens, look! It's our house! Our own house is burning! Hurry, we'll be trapped! Quick! Up the stairs!
I can't.
Don't talk. Perhaps I can get the flames. Don't breathe. Oh, there's the front door. We made it. We're safe.
Oh, Charles, look. Our house.
Anybody else in there?
No, nobody else.
Just as well. Never could get them out now. Are you the owner?
Yes, that was our house.
Well, you haven't got much left then. We can't save it now.
Stand back! Stand back, everybody! The roof is gonna fall in! Stand back!
Oh my.
Oh, there it goes!
Well, it's down now.
Honey, nothing is left but that one wall in the middle.
Look at that.
What about it?
Well, look at it. On the wall.
Say, that is strange.
What are you talking about? What's strange?
There, on the wall, that's still standing.
The marks on the plaster.
Marks? What marks?
What's the matter? Are you blind? Right up there on the wall, that black figure.
Why, it looks like a cat.
Yeah, it does. The smoke must have done it. But it certainly does look like a cat.
What looks like a cat?
There. And it's got one floppy ear.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Funny? No, it's not funny. Not funny at all. I know what it is. It's Pluto. I recognize him. I know it is. His ear is torn, see? Oh, you beast. That hideous beast. He's come back to haunt me. I can't stand it. I can't.
Oh. Get some water, somebody. This fellow's fainted.
In a few moments, Stage 1 will bring you the climax of Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat. But first, a word from our sponsors. We return you now to Act 2 of The Black Cat. The Black Cat is dead, killed by its master. The house is burned to the ground, with everything in it completely destroyed. Now, the scene is the almost deserted, candlelit bar room of a local inn.
Don't you think you better go home, sir? It's late.
Home? You should see the terrible place where my wife and I are living now.
Oh, I heard you lost everything in the fire.
Yes, I lost my house, lost everything.
How about the black cat of yours you used to talk about all the time? What was his name?
Pluto. Yes, Pluto's gone too. And I tell you, I miss him. I miss him.
If you miss him that much, why don't you get another cat?
Bring me a drink.
It's pretty late, sir. I mean, won't your wife be expecting you?
Bring me a drink.
Yes, sir. But I'll have to go fetch another bottle.
Why don't I get another cat, he says. Well, why don't I? No reason I shouldn't. No reason to be in the depths of despair just because of a cat. Yes. Yes, if I get another cat, then perhaps I'll be able to forget. What's that? Why, there's a cat now, sitting on top of the table. A black cat. That's strange. I've been staring at that table for 5 minutes, and I could swear there was no cat on it before. Where did it come from? My, you are a beautiful cat. Just as black as Pluto, except you've got a splotch of white on your chest. That's right. Come sit on my lap. You are so friendly. Such a nice cat. I'd like to...
Here you are, sir.
Never mind the drink. Where did this cat come from?
Cat? Oh, big one, isn't it? I don't know where it came from or how it got in here either, for that matter. I've never seen it around here before.
You don't know who it belongs to?
No, far as I'm concerned, it belongs to you if you want it. I can't keep it here. My wife doesn't like cats, especially black ones.
Doesn't like cats? How stupid. Yes, I want it. I want it very much, and I'll take it home with me right now.
Charles, this is such a wonderful cat. Just since last week, it's made itself so much at home. Why, you'd think it had lived here always.
Yes, I noticed that.
It reminds me so much of Pluto.
But this one has a patch of white on its chest. Don't forget that.
That's right. But I can't help wondering. I wonder whatever became of Pluto. He disappeared the day of the fire.
I know, he disappeared. Maybe he knew the house was going to burn down.
Oh, see how it loves you. It's rubbing against your leg, just the way Pluto used to.
Stop talking about Pluto!
Why, I didn't mean...
I'm sorry, dear, but all this talk about how much this new cat resembles Pluto, it makes me nervous. Look, there's hardly any resemblance at all, really, except they're both black, and this one has that white patch on his chest and...
Oh, the poor thing. Look, Charles, his ear is torn.
What?
See, here under the fur. I never noticed that before.
Neither did I.
Why, it's just the way, I mean...
Go ahead, say it. It's torn just the way Pluto's ear was torn when I kicked him. That's it, isn't it?
He must have been in a fight or something. But it's curious we didn't notice it.
Curious? You have no idea how curious it is. Get that cat out of my sight.
You're mad. How can you act that way about a poor, dumb animal, especially one that loves you so much?
Take it out of here.
Now you've frightened it.
Get it away from me.
The way you talk, anybody'd think you don't even like the poor cat.
Like it? I hate it. I tell you, hate it. Hate it. Hate it.
Yes. In the short time the cat had been with us, I had come to look upon it with unutterable loathing. Why, I do not know. Yet the more I hated it, the more affectionate it acted toward me. Wherever I went, it followed. Whenever I sat down, it would spring upon my knees and cover me with its loathsome caresses. As if this were not enough, the white patch on its chest, which originally had been very indefinite in shape, gradually assumed a definite outline. The unspeakable and ghastly shape of the gallows, that terrible engine of horror, of agony, and of death. I longed to destroy the beast, but I was prevented by an absolute, unreasoning dread. I was sure I was going out of my mind.
Charles, are you going out again?
Yes, I'm going out and I don't know when I'll be back.
Oh, before you go, do you
Well, what is it?
Will you help me bring up some wood from the cellar?
Why do you always want more wood?
Well, the house is cold, and you know I haven't been feeling well. I'm not strong enough to carry it myself.
Oh, all right. Come on, I'll help you. You might have thought of this before.
Look out!
Oh, jeez. That cat, it's always under my feet. It tried to trip me on the stairs.
Oh, no.
I'll
I'm
get rid of that beast once and for all.
Charles, put down that crowbar!
Get out of the way!
No, stop!
Let go of my arm!
You don't know what you're doing!
Are you gonna let go?
Oh, please!
I said let go! Well, why didn't you let me go?
Yes, she had fallen dead without a groan. In my blind rage against the cat, I had struck my wife and killed her. Well, nothing I could do about it now. All I could do was set myself to the task of concealing the body. I thought and I deliberated, and then it occurred to me that in the Middle Ages they used to wall up their victims, and I determined to do the same thing behind the wall in the cellar. I managed to dislodge a section of bricks near the chimney, and in the hole behind them I propped the body. Then I carefully laid the bricks back in their original position. When I had finished, no one could have told that the wall had been disturbed at all. Well, I could say to myself triumphantly, "Here at last, my labor has not been in vain." My next step then was to look for the cat that had been the cause of so much misery, but then I became aware that it had completely disappeared. 3 days passed, and still my tormentor did not appear. It is impossible to describe or to imagine the deep sense of my relief. For the first time in months, I slept. Yes, slept, even with the burden of murder on my soul. Some few inquiries were made about my wife's whereabouts. A search of the house was conducted, but nothing was discovered. I looked upon my future as secure.
Yes?
Good day, sir. Sorry to disturb you again.
Oh, it's you, Sergeant. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, they're still puzzled about your wife's disappearance.
Well, so am I.
Some of her friends have been around to the police station.
What's that got to do with me? You've already searched the house twice.
I know, but the captain sent me and the constable here to look around just once more to be sure there are no clues being overlooked. This will be the last time, sir. Only a matter of routine. We won't bother you again.
Oh, all right. Come in.
Thank you, sir. Come on, Joe.
Right.
Where would you like to look first?
Well, we might as well begin with the cellar.
The cellar. Oh, yes. Right down these steps. I'll come with you.
Yes, I always say searching a house is like getting ahead in the world. You start at the bottom.
Yes, I see. Very funny.
Yeah. Well, come on, Constable. Get to work.
Right.
While they searched, I folded my arms and watched. As before, they discovered nothing. As they were about to depart, the glee in my heart was too strong to be restrained. I burned to say but one word by way of triumph. As they started up the steps, I said, "Have you noticed that this is a very well-constructed house, gentlemen? You'll not find one better. An excellently constructed house." In the frenzy of my bravado, upon that very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of my wife, I rapped with my cane. But may heaven deliver me from the arch-fiend. What was that?
Mother of mercy, what was that?
The wind, probably.
Wind? That's not the wind. It came when you hit this wall here.
Whatever it is, it's behind these bricks, Sarge.
Here, take this crowbar and knock down the wall.
Right.
Wait, you can't
Keep
do that.
quiet, you.
Yo, wait a minute, where are you going?
Upstairs.
You stay right here.
This is new plaster. Hasn't had time to set yet.
Pull it down.
Here she comes. Look out.
Well, there's what we're looking for, all right. His wife's body.
What's that horrible-looking thing sitting on her head?
It's the cat!
How did that cat get in there?
I know how it got there. I must have walled it up in the tomb and I never knew it. Look at that red mouth, those burning eyes, you hideous beast, you monster, you devil, you made me a murderer, and now for 3 days you've been in there waiting to send me to the gallows. Well, the hangman will get me, and I hope you're satisfied. I hope you're satisfied.
I hope that black cat doesn't cross my path tonight. Imagine you are the friend of a man living in death, confidant of a ghoul, witness to a nameless terror. You will soon be a guest in the house of Usher. After a brief intermission, our actors will bring you our final post story of the evening. Next, we escape to a gloom-shrouded moor and a house where dread holds sway, as Edgar Allan Poe recounts it in his famous story, The Fall of the House of Usher.
It is with some regret, but I believe advisable, that I identify myself only as a friend of Roderick Usher. Certainly the last, and perhaps the only friend of that unhappy man. Having only one sister, he was the last male descendant of the ancient house of Usher. Roderick had been one of my boon companions in boyhood, but many years had elapsed now since our last meeting. And so, as I held his letter in my hand, not yet opening it, I reflected with no little sadness upon the devious fates that chart our courses and drive old friends away from one another. But then, a sudden feverish and nostalgic curiosity laid hold of me, and with fingers made clumsy by their eagerness, I tore open the letter and read.
My dear friend, my need of you has so far outgrown my pride that I'm going to request a favor which I realize full well may involve considerable inconvenience to yourself. For some time past, I have been suffering from an acute bodily illness intensified by serious mental oppression, if I may so call it. A horror which looms over me, a horror grown so great I dare no longer face it alone. And so in all humility, and for the sake of years gone by, I beseech you to come to me at once, here to the family estate in the north. Should events conspire to prevent your coming, then only God may know the consequences. Your friend in desperation, Roderick Usher.
And so it happened that at the end of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the middle of October, I found myself, as the shades of evening drew on, within view of the grim and melancholy house of Usher. I confess, the first sight of that house, the fungus-covered walls of stone thrusting their ramparts against the darkening sky, rising out of the sullen, sluggish waters of the black tarn at their base, the bleak and vacant windows staring blindly, the bone-white trunks of decaying trees. These things filled me with a nameless and desolate terror, so that I reined in my horse and sat trembling, half fearing to cross the wooden bridge that led over the waters of the moat and up to the entrance of the house of Usher. Then, impatiently, I shook off this strange feeling of dread and was an instant later clattering over the wooden bridge and onto the courtyard. I dismounted quickly, tossed the reins to the silent lackey who approached, strode across the gravel and up to the massive wooden portal, the door of the house of Usher. Good afternoon. My name is...
I know. You're a friend of Master Roderick. Please come inside, sir.
Thank you. But may I inquire how it happens you know me?
You have been expected for some time, sir.
Yes, true. But also, I am a stranger to you, and could be some other visitor.
That you could be anyone other than a friend of Master Roderick expects, sir, would be impossible. You see, no one else would ever come to this house.
Then I followed his stealthy footsteps through many dark and intricate passages. My earlier foreboding heightened and was made fearful by the somber aspect of the hallways by which we passed, the many unused rooms reaching out with their vast emptiness, like some hideous jungle creeper. But at length we stood before the door of the master's studio, and there the servant left me, departed and left me to go in alone. The man across the room, half reclining on the couch, his back turned toward me, did not hear the opening of the door. For the space of several heartbeats, I saw only the deathly pale and ghastly sunken features of a stranger. Then, only with difficulty could I recognize behind that mask my boyhood friend. For surely, under light of heaven, no man had ever before so terribly altered in so brief a time as had Roderick Usher.
Oh, my friend, you've come at last. Thank God you did come.
Oh, Roderick, did you not know I would? Could you not be sure that no long years would ever dim the friendship we shared in youth?
So many things have dimmed. Youth seems so long ago. But now you're here and we'll find it. Relive it all over again. Every glorious moment of it. And all these shadows, all these gibbering phantoms that haunt me, and they'll be driven out. And then the sun will shine again, and we'll be young again.
Roderick!
And we'll... But forgive me, my friend. My excessive joy at the sight of you after so many years drives me into a frenzy of talk. How many years has it? No matter. It is enough that you are here and brought with you all the lost, all the happy days of my boyhood.
But I'd expected from your letter to find you in serious straits indeed. Instead, you seem to be in the best of spirits.
You have the right to know. But in all frankness, here in your presence, I find it difficult to credit important are those things which only yesterday filled me with terror. True, I've been ill, a nervous affliction, something in the nature of a family weakness, probably. It has affected me with a morbid acuteness of the senses, such that quite often the least sounds and odors and colors become irritating beyond endurance. I've eaten but little, as you can see.
But surely you've retained the services of a physician.
A physician? Oh, yes, of course. He calls almost daily, though it is more often Madeline that he attends. You remember my twin sister, Madeline? For her, I fear more greatly than for myself. Even today, she's taken to her bed, and I have no doubt will never rise from it again.
Oh, what a tragedy. The sympathies of my heart go out to you.
Oh, but leave it for the present. Leave it to dream of all those happy days we left so far behind. Everything will be different now that you're here. Do you remember when we...
But the happy forgetfulness which Roderick found in my coming was short-lived. And in a few days he had sunk into a morose torpor, from which only occasionally, with frantic difficulty, could he reach the joy of our first few hours of meeting. More often, his mental apathy was broken by bursts of vicious temper and violent ill humor. This I could only excuse on the basis of his illness, and that illness began, in my mind, to assume a most mysterious character. Being unable to divine its true nature from Roderick's hesitant offerings, I took the liberty of questioning the physician a few days later when I chanced to encounter him in the hallway.
Yes, she's resting as well as might be expected.
But she continues to decline. Is that not correct, Doctor?
That would seem to be the case.
And the malady, the illness which has stricken her, is it the same as that which affects her brother, Roderick?
I may venture that it is.
Might I inquire the nature of this illness?
As to that, I'm unable to say.
You imply then that I have no right to the information?
Not at all. I'm confessing to you quite simply, sir. I do not know what afflicts Madeline and Roderick Usher.
And so a week passed. A week in which the sullen, leaden skies darkened into deeper oppressiveness. In which Roderick's deathly pallor and creeping mental disillusion grew more apparent. A week in which the monstrous atmosphere of this ancient mausoleum began to crawl insidiously within my own consciousness, stirring into life a formless, unknown dread. Then one evening, we were sitting in the vaulted studio while the first shadows of night began to flow together into pools of darkness. Roderick had been unusually troubled during the day and had been trying to find some solace by playing on the violin. Of a sudden, there came a knock upon the door.
Stop it. Stop that infernal pounding, do you hear? Do you used to drive me completely mad? Open the door, come in.
It was
Come
the
in!
doctor.
Well, what is it? What do you want?
Master Usher, I regret that I must say this, but it is my sad duty to inform you that your sister Madeline is no longer living.
Madeline? My sister? Then she's dead?
She breathes no more.
Dead? And perhaps, my dear doctor, you could tell me what caused her death.
Unfortunately, I can only take refuge in the term heart failure.
Heart failure? Yes. Yes. Of course. Very well, doctor. If you will be kind enough to wait, I'll come down directly and discuss the arrangements.
At your service. I bid you good afternoon, gentlemen.
Roderick, I assure you of my deepest sympathy.
You do. Your deepest sympathy. The doctor regrets his sad duty. Are you fools? Both of you fools?
I don't understand.
Haven't you seen it yet? Can you not feel it about you? The horrid, monstrous, brooding spirit of this accursed house. Can you not hear its evil laughter as it lurks in the hallways and grows fat upon the soul of my dead sister?
Roderick.
Can't you see that it matters nothing to me that she's dead? That I myself walk but a few steps behind her into the same shadows of hell? Can't you sense those hideous tentacles even now reaching out for me? For me! Oh, now, the last living, if it be living, the last living descendant of the accursed house of Usher.
Such was the passing of Madeline Usher, once living, now dead. And her very death, untimely in its aspects, bore to my trembling soul a portent of events yet more hideous, more horrible, and yet to come. At a later hour of the same sad night, Roderick came into my chamber to voice an intention so morbidly unnatural that for the moment I could only feel that his tottering reason had, at last, failed him entirely.
Then you refuse.
But Roderick, this is madness.
I tell you, before the night is over, the coffin body of my sister shall rest in the vault beneath this house, and if you will not help me, I shall do it myself.
But why? Why?
I could not stand to think of her buried out there in the dark graveyard, alone among the dead.
Roderick, she too is dead.
It's fantastic how little we know of death or of life. The doctor says she no longer breathes.
She is dead.
She was so lovely, was my sister.
Roderick.
I must keep Madeline near me.
Nothing but evil could come of such an act.
I can trust no one but you. Not even the physician himself. He hates us because he can't discover what it is that kills us. Even he might steal the body of my beloved sister, and he might learn our secret. You understand, don't you, my friend?
Yes, Roderick. I understand. And And so it came about, near midnight, we two alone made our way to an upper chamber of the house, and taking the black coffin between us, in the shuddering light of candles, we walked the tortuous passageways, slowly descended the curving stairs of stone, passed between the moldy level of the earth, forced open the massive and aged rusted door of iron, and stood at last with our ghastly burden in a subterranean dank and musty crypt underneath the house of Usher.
Over here, my friend, on these trestles. Now, a trifle higher with the head. There. Oh, may you sleep in peace and dream, sweet sister, from I who tread the same path soft behind you.
Come, Roderick. The thing is done.
Oh, wait. Stay a moment. We've not yet to fix the coffin lid. See? I've left it loose so it can be turned back.
No, I beg you.
I'll ask farewell, no more. Look. Is she not beautiful?
Yes, she was very beautiful.
Was. Yes. Of course. The look of her confused me. But do you not see it too? The warm glow of the cheeks. The eyes shut softly. Those lips half parted. Does it not seem that she may rise up and speak to us at any moment?
This gruesome place inspired those morbid fancies.
Morbid fancies. But now dead she seems to live. And living seemed already dead.
Man, you seek out madness. You court it with your very thoughts.
And if I do, what matters? What value can there be in reason without the hope of life? Dead, you say to me. She is dead. Then what certainty will not with equal reason say instead she lives? And that I, the last of Usher, am the one who is already dead.
I prevailed on my friend at last to leave that mournful place. And so, with grim finality, we secured the open lid, picked up our flickering candles, and departed from the crypt, leaving it alone with its darkness and death. The ponderous portal closed behind us, and then my soul, for one brief instant, felt the dread and awful meaning of eternity. There followed a week of such dreary gloom and melancholy that my own spirit quavered at the menace of the nameless thing enshadowed in that house. By perceptible degrees, the living soul of Roderick Usher flickered lower. More ghastly grew his pallor, more tremulous the extremity of his terror. The 8th day following the death of Lady Madeline fell upon the last day of grim and gray October, and brought with it, as the curtains of night descended, the fitful breath of a rising tempest. Uneasy gusts of sodden rain, and the sound of sullen thunderous rumbles born of the dim flares of sheet lightning somewhere behind the lowering squall. I retired at a late hour, but found sleep impossible. At length, overpowered by some strange presentiment of evil, I found my reposeful inaction no longer endurable. And so I arose, threw on my clothes in haste, and fell to pacing the floor of my darkened chamber. Then, in one instant, a soft sound from the blackness froze my steps in paralysis of terror. The latch of my chamber door was lifted from without. Who is it? Who is it, I say?
It is I, Roderick.
Oh, Roderick. What are you doing up and about at this hour in pitch blackness? Wait, let me light the candles.
No, I am quite used to the darkness. I heard your footsteps and knew that you must be awake, even as I was. But can it be that you've not seen it?
I don't understand you. I've seen nothing.
Then stay. You shall see it, even as I've seen it for these past 2 hours. Wait. I'll throw open the casement window. There. Look.
It was indeed a tempestuous yet sternly beautiful night, and one wildly singular in its terror and in its beauty. The exceeding density of the clouds, which hung so low as to press upon the turrets of the house, did not prevent our perceiving the velocity with which they flew careening from all points against one another. We had no glimpse of the moon or stars, but terrible to behold, the undersurfaces of the huge cloud masses, as well as all terrestrial objects immediately around us, were glowing in the unnatural light of a faintly luminous and clearly visible phosphorescence which hung like a shroud about the mansion itself.
You see, my friend, tonight the thing grows bold, gathers strength from the storm and from the dead souls eaten.
No, Roderick, you must not look at this. Here, I shall close this window and pull these curtains. And now, candlelight. Such darkness is the very mother of evil fear. There. Now, come, sit here. Suppose I read aloud from some book or another.
As you wish.
I presume it matters little which. Ah, here it is. Here is a volume of The Mad Tryst by Canning. Will it serve?
As you said, it matters little.
I've always found the scene to be quite entertaining, wherein Ethelred dreams of fighting a dragon. Now, let's see. Oh, yes, here it is. And so Ethelred waited no longer to hold parley with the hermit who mocked him from inside the hut, but feeling the rain upon his back, and fearing the rising of the tempest, uplifted his axe and quickly made a hole in the plankings of the door for his gauntleted hand. And now, pulling sturdily, he so cracked and ripped all asunder that the noise of the dry and hollow-sounding wood alarmed and reverberated throughout the forest.
Why do you stop?
That's strange. I fancied I just heard the very sound I read about.
Let us say it was caused by the storm. Pray continue.
Oh yes, the storm, of course. But Ethelred, upon entering the door, was amazed to perceive no sign of the evil hermit, but instead a dragon of prodigious and scaly demeanor, which sat on guard before a shield of shining brass. And Ethelred uplifted his axe and struck the head of the dragon, which fell before him with a shriek so horrid and harsh, like wherever... What sound is that?
Sound? The shriek of a dragon, my friend. Read on.
Very well. And now the champion, bethinking himself of the shield of brass, approached across the silver floor where the shield hung upon the wall. But the shield, not waiting for his coming, loosed and fell upon the silver floor with a mighty great... Roderick, I tell you, something moves within this house. That sound, it reverberated through the very walls. Can you tell me now that you did not hear it?
Hear it now? Oh, yes. I hear it and have heard it long moments, hours, many days have I heard it. Yet I dare not speak.
But why?
Do you not know we put her living in the tomb? I tell you now. I heard her first feeble movements in the coffin many, many days ago, and I felt that it mattered little, but now she comes to upbraid me for my haste. And that last dread sound, yes, I heard it, the opening of the metal door to the crypt beneath the house. Now she comes here. Have I not heard her footsteps on the stair? Do I not distinguish the heavy and horrible beating of her heart? Madman that I am, I tell you that she now stands without that door. But even now, she opens it.
There, in the flickering light of candles, in the gloom and curtained doorway, stood the shrouded body of Lady Madeline. For one shuddering instant, she swayed there. Then, as Roderick uttered a single piteous cry, she fell upon him in violent and now final death agonies and bore him to the floor, a corpse. From that chamber and from the mansion I fled aghast. out the massive portal, over the causeway, into the night. Suddenly there shot along the path a wild light. I looked back in heightened terror for the house, and its shadows were alone behind me. The baleful gleam came from the setting full and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through a widening crack in the walls of the house itself. And even as I gazed, this fissure opened rapidly. There came a fierce breath of the tempest. The entire lunar orb burst at once upon my sight. My brain reeled. I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder. There came a long, tumultuous, shouting sound, like the voice of 1,000 waters. And in the dark, deep tarn at my feet, it closed sullenly and silently, forever, over the pitiful ruins of the ancient House of Usher.
So, with a raging storm and a howling wind at our back, we flee from the gloom and dread of the House of Usher. But we have one last stop on our tour of the world of Edgar Allan Poe. We end with a love poem, but from Poe, even love has a macabre twist, as shown at the end in the hauntingly beautiful Annabel Lee.
It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. She was a child and I was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud by night, chilling my Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels not half so happy in heaven went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of a cloud, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I see the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lay down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the side of the sea.
Thank you to our actors for the chills they brought to our audience tonight. The cast included Michael Magnani, Brandon Peterson, Jack McPherson, Carol Roy, Greg Roy, Tim Roberts, Rob Carricker, Dick Renardi, Justin Tillett, and Alexia Hollis. Music was provided by Yuri Rashkin, and our director was Pat Tome. On behalf of Stage One Incorporated and the Stage One radio players, may I wish all of you a spooktacular Halloween.
One more time from the Janesville Performing Arts Center, the Stage One radio players.